This video is sponsored by EA.
Every story begins at the end of another. My Baba, my father, your story was snatched away too soon.
Grief is a challenging emotion to get right in video games. Not everybody mourns in the same way. Tales of Kenzera has met the challenge head on though, and has given us a game that will resonate with fans of Ori and Gree. Tales of Kenzera was a Metroidvania style game with African influences. The graphics are amazing. From the futuristic setting to the cultural inspirations, the world of Kenzera is a feast of colour and immersive storytelling. I'm not already in the game, am I? Well, that was seamless. My breath was quite literally taken away by how beautiful this game was. I grew up playing platformers, but generally these days I don't pick up fighting games. Instead I opt for like life sims or walking simulators or action adventures. I mean, the last time I played a game with battles in it was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But when EA reached out to me to play this new indie game, I had to take a double take. At first I was adamant I am not gonna like it. More than that though, my viewers were not gonna like it. But then I began playing it.
Perhaps there you may prove to me you are worthy of such a task.
I will show you my worthiness. Show you the grace of the moon.
The voice acting is like impeccable. I'm like properly drawn into this. I'm not even talking. I'm really invested in the story right now. Tales of Kenzera opens on a heavy note as we're introduced to Zubiri, a young man who's lost his father and clearly having a hard time accepting it. So he's lost his father, she's lost her husband. An emotional start to the game.
When Baba found out he was sick, the look on his face, the anxiety, the fear, the anger, even a little confusion.
His father, however, left him a book. The story of Zhao. As we're transported through the pages, we meet a warrior by the name of Zhao, a shaman who's dealing with the loss of his father. It's all very meta. He summons Kalunga, the god of death, in an attempt to bring his dad back from the veil between the realm of the living and the dead. Using the power of the sun and the moon masks, he promises Kalunga he'll best the three spirits that have eluded death in return for his father. I was surprised at how easily I took to this game. I was initially drawn in by the touching story, having lost my own father, although I definitely didn't have a good relationship with him. He left when I was 11, and I recall hearing about his death like from my brother when I was in my early 30s? Mid-30s. And honestly, I was totally surprised by my body's own reaction to hearing it. The best way to describe it is like having a panic attack. The grief was actually overwhelming. I didn't even experience that type of grief when my grandparents died, and I was very close to them. Though I'm no expert on the mind, or even my own mind, I later came to the conclusion that the reason why I was so consumed by grief by the passing of a father that honestly I didn't know was because I felt such a great loss for what I'd missed out on, like a genuine father-daughter relationship. It was also a sense of utter relief, like this invisible chain that had tethered me to him had finally been cut. And all the emotions that I'd had bottled up just released in that moment. The grief didn't last very long, and I take that down to not having a very good relationship with him, unlike with my grandparents, where when I think about them now I still actually get choked up because I love them so much and I miss them honestly every single day. But back to the game. Zhao wields the powers of two masks at the start of the game. The Mask of the Sun and the Mask of the Moon. I gather there is symbolism here, similarly I gather there is symbolism here, similar in how the world in Gree regains colour as she passes through each stage of grief. We each have two masks that we show the world. The mask we wear for others, and the mask we wear for ourselves. The sun mask is for melee damage, while the moon mask is for long range attacks. I played a Titan in Destiny back in the day, and I know that I am the sort of player that likes to get up and personal with my enemies. I thoroughly enjoyed the platforming in this game. I never got bored of switching between the sun and the moon mast and how quickly I could use each ability in battle. I occasionally got lost though and had to resort to the map to see where I needed to go. I'm sure there wasn't another way out through here, was there? No. But that's probably just a me thing. This game for the most part is pretty linear. It just took me a couple of attempts to make a jump sometimes. It's not as easy as it looks, you know. There's a little bit of a knack to it, there really is. Found the enemies quite interesting. After each battle I looked up the lore to see more about them. I love that the lore was built into the game and I didn't need to go hunting around the internet for it, because there's nothing worse than having to go down a Google rabbit hole when you're in the middle of a game. The developer cited that his inspiration for the world of Kenzera was Hollow Knight and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Unfortunately for me, I've not played either of those games, so it's difficult for me to draw comparisons. However, a simple glance at the way Ori moves just from the trailers in comparison to how Zao moves through the environment is easy to see, especially when side by side. The movements are just fluid. For me, the closest comparison I can draw to Zao is from Gree. Being a platform puzzler is centered around the experience of grief, and it's not dissimilar to the Tales of Kenzera. The fight, however, is within yourself and the environment rather than with the enemies in Gree. If you're a fan of Metroidvania action games and have 8 to 10 hours spare, I think Tales of Kenzera Zao is worth the $17.99 price tag.
Zao, healing can only begin when we have conceded to our emotions. When we do not hide them. When we do not ignore them.
This game captured the experience of grief from different perspectives and how we move through the world after a loss. I feel like it's done a great job of expressing this emotion in a way that will resonate with many players. Simples. Ooh, double jump. Like it. Ooh, I like the slide. I found the fighting quite repetitive. How am I going to get you up there? Oh, hello. Get out the way, get out the way. Oh, I died. I'm gonna have to do that again. I enjoyed the platforming and also the skill tree. Just walloping one off the platform. I even liked the fighting abilities. Press B to dash through waterfalls. Oh, cool. Sun. Oh, we're switching. But I prefer a little less fighting and a little more storytelling. That's just a personal preference as a cozy gamer though. Tales of Kenzera Zao is out now on PlayStation, Xbox, PC and Switch.